All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, call Allah, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakadash. Double honors to the Pause of Israel, aka the Pause of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick. So, I want to bring out a couple articles and filter them through the scriptures, and Lord willing be edifying. I'm Brother Ali Yashai, and basically, I came across a couple of things. And I don't know if this is random, because, yeah, I think this might have been random, but it's two topics I want to cover. Now, one, as the title reads, it's various topics. So one is the this article I'm about to bring out about 7 EU countries increase Russian energy imports while supporting Ukraine. And there was another one that was sparked through the spirit. It was, Bill Snakes, Fakes, whatever, want to call him, that Microsoft guy. Basically, he made a statement a little ways back. Him and another guy, I believe they said his name is Tony Blair. They made a statement about basically, if you don't have a digital ID by 2028, then you will be basically ousted from society. Basically, you wouldn't be able to function in society. And that just basically goes to show the times we're really in as far as prophecy goes, you know what I'm saying? Because, that's basically the beast system, you know what I mean? This beast, Roman Empire, American Empire, EU, NATO, all these things that's in the book of Revelation. As a matter of fact, that's all in the book of Revelation. I'm gonna bring it out. But basically, these things happening is all prophecy. And it's like how the things happening right now, these events, is how efficiently and how what's the word, another word I want to use, convincingly, and basically how basically accurately, yes, a better word, accurately, how these events are tied to the prophecies in the Bible and nothing else. All right. So this article, and there's a few articles, but this is from it's called the Euromaidan Press, and they basically use this from information from Reuters, and it says Europe's self-sabotage. 7 EU countries increase Russian imports while supporting Ukraine. It says Reuters. It says, even as they provide billions in aid to Ukraine, several EU countries, including France, the Netherlands, and Romania, have increased Russian energy imports in 2025, funding Moscow's war efforts as well. So basically, they supplying both sides. Okay, here you say you want the war to stop, but yet you're giving aid to Russia. You're getting Russian imports from Russia, and you're helping the people that Russia is fighting against. Now, tell me, how did that make sense? That sounds like Satan's house divided. If I ever knew, because didn't Trump say to countries to stop fucking with Russia? Basically, I know they said oil, but doesn't oil and energy go hand in hand together? If it don't, let me know. But here it is, you got EU countries, which are part of the beast, part of the 10 horns, doing business with Russia. All right. So in the article, it says funding the war from both sides, the EU's multi-billion-dollar contradiction. It says several European Union countries have increased imports of Russian energy in 2025, even as they remain major backers of Ukraine's defense. It says experts warn these purchases are a form of self-sabotage, giving the Kremlin money to continue its war against Ukraine and effectively funding the war from both sides. So that's what's going on right now? You're funding the war from both sides? So what the fuck is going on? What is really going on? And how can Esau, remember, these are all Edomites, that's why the Lord says how divided. How can you be supplying Russia and Ukraine, and you're part of the EU? But that goes into what? Revelation, the 17th chapter. Because if Trump told people to stop fucking with Russia and their oil and energy or whatever the fuck going on, you got countries that's 7 EU countries. So it says experts warn these purchases are a form of self-sabotage, giving the Kremlin money which Kremlin is the Russian side, Kremlin money to continue its war against Ukraine and effectively funding the war from both sides. It says, according to a Reuters analyst of data from the Center for research on energy and clean air, 7 EU member states, France, which is part of the 7 heads in Revelation, the 17th chapter, the Netherlands, Romania. Now, didn't Russia just invade Romanian airspace? Now it makes you wonder, like, were they really invading or were they just coming through? It says the Netherlands, Romania, Belgium, Croatia, Portugal, and Hungary imported more Russian energy in 2025 than they did in 2024. It says the numbers don't lie. France, Netherlands, and Portugal lead the surge. It says France. Now, didn't France just say, talking about getting ready for a war with Russia, talking about to the French hospitals to get ready for an influx of injured soldiers from World War III? And didn't France just send Poland nuclear shit to talk about when Russia was violating Poland's airspace? It says France increased imports by 40% to 2 billion euros, I guess that is. It says while the Netherlands rose 72% to 498 million euros, Portugal's imports jumped 167%, and Portugal, that's right by Spain. Romania, which is also part of the beast, the 7 horns. It says Romania 57%, Croatia 55%, and Belgium 3%. It said the EU as a whole imported more than 11 billion euros of Russian energy during the first 8 months of 2025, which was what, to August. And we're in early October, so what else is happening? It says while total imports are down roughly 90% from pre-war levels, the revenue still provides a significant boost to Moscow's wartime economy. That's from 7 EU countries, and a couple of those countries that they're actually part of NATO. Oops. It says analysts warn that continued energy payments effectively fund Russia's military operations, even as European Union supply Kiev with billions in military and humanitarian aid. It says long-term contracts with Russian suppliers remain in place through the 2030s or 2040s. Companies say they must continue deliveries because of contractual obligations and a lack of an EU-wide legal ban on Russian LNG. It says Hungary and Slovakia, which maintain close ties to Moscow, continue to import large amounts of Russian gas and will not be affected by EU LNG sanctions. And I believe, I'm not sure about stuff, but I believe Hungary is part of NATO as well. But they're all part, they all have, if they're not part of the EU or NATO, they have those ties to those countries that's part of the EU and NATO. But I believe Hungary is part of the NATO. It says the European Commission has announced a phased EU-wide ban on Russian LNG by 2027, accelerated from 2028. But until the ban is enforced, payments to Moscow are expected to continue. So I guess they're saying, I guess they're putting leash on it. It says since 2022, the EU has spent over 167 billion euros on aid to Ukraine, including military and humanitarian support. In comparison, energy payments to Russia have totaled more than 213 billion euros. So that means that they're giving Russia more. These 7 countries, and who knows who else. And what America got to say about that? I guess that's why Trump did say that to stop business with Russia and their oil and whatnot. But this article's from the October 10th. Yeah, this is from October 10th, but that was 2 days ago. That was Friday. So that means that this is still in effect, and it said it's going to continue in effect. They're going to continue these deals. Now, how is it now you got Russia and Ukraine getting funded by 7 EU countries? 7. Giving them billions of euros. And what do NATO and the other EU countries got to say about that? Let me get that real quick what Yahawah said. And I'm gonna get that in NLT. Because I want to bring up Revelation 17 as well. Is that 12? Is that 12 and 23? Oh, what the, am I bugging? Oh, no, I think it's verse 20. I think it's chapter 22. No, I think it is 12. It is 12. I think I'm in the wrong verse, though. I think they're in the 30s. Am I tweaking? Hold up. Memory. South. Huh? Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I didn't want you to be Oh, 12:26. Oh, I was in the right chapter. Hold up. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 25 and 26. And it's in the NLT. And it reads, I'm going to read the King James first. Read the King James first. So I wasn't even expecting. No, why don't you go to the blue there? I'm bugging. Oh, fuck, go. Oh, man. There, my tab got. Okay. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 25, and it reads, and it says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Now, America is known as what? The city that spiritually Sodom and Egypt, Esau's kingdom. We're in Esau's kingdom. So you got Russia, you got the EU countries, Ukraine, America, all these countries, they're all Edomites. So they're all actually part of Esau's kingdom, which is Satan's kingdom. So it says every kingdom, so Yahushua, this is Yahushua speaking. It says every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Now that's what's happening to Esau's kingdom right now. America about to be destroyed. These other countries, these other Edomite countries, they about to lose their position of power. Because once this war kicks off, remember this devil's getting all his digital IDs, getting everything ready. The time is nigh. That's what the Lord said. The kingdom of heaven is nigh. The day of the Lord is nigh. It is nigh. That great day, that great and terrible, dreadful day of the Lord is approaching fast. The Lord said, what? The end shall speak. Though it tarry, wait for it, it shall not tarry. The end shall surely speak. And the end right now is speaking. Just how you got EU countries, they're supplying Russia and Ukraine. That should be plastered over all the news right now. And that should go to show that this is all set up. Why is the EU supplying both sides and they're talking about they want the war to stop, but you're giving them money and you know what they're using shit for? They're using shit to fight against each other. Verse 26 of Matthew chapter 12. And I'm going to read that in NLT and verse 25 in NLT as well. So it says, Yahushua knew their thoughts and replied. It says, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. Now, isn't Esau a family? These EU countries, NATO countries, America, they're all part of Esau's family. And right now they're feuding. Hell, Esau and Russia and Ukraine are Edomites. You got the whole thing with the EU, America. You got the whole thing with the fucking small hats and what they're doing. How they want that to stop. These other Edomites want that to stop. So you have a bunch of feuding. You have a bunch of, and you got a bunch of in-house division. You got a bunch of family problems, family drama. Remember, Esau is a family. Remember, all the I'm gonna read that in Revelation 27. It talks about what the kingdom, the beast, remember the beast represented the Roman Empire, the Renaissance, the seven heads, the Romans, the Greeks, the Spanish, French, Those are Edomites. This is part of Esau's kingdom. This is all part of the same story. That deadly wound that was healed, Satan was loose out of his prison. It's all tying into the time we're in right now. And right now now it said the prosperity of the wicked is short. Because now, after the wound healed, Satan being loosed, and all of the second beast coming from the first beast, which is the Roman Empire, and now you have the EU and the NATO, the 10 horns, the 7 heads. Now that you have this all established, it says it's gonna be what? A short time. Because now, since so if you want to take America, America, I mean, if you want to count the times of Columbus and all that, but that's all part of like the French and the Spanish, that's all around that time. But if you want to talk about actually America, Babylon the Great, the whore, they'll say 1776. But as far as all the prophecy goes, as far as Esau's kingdom, it goes back before America. America actually came last. All right? So it says, verse 26 of Matthew chapter 12, and it says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And we're in Satan's kingdom, which is Esau. Satan's counterparts are these Edomites. And as of right now, they're divided. Hell, you got division amongst Americans. The whole thing, they talk about, the left, the Democrats, and the Republicans, the government shutdown. Trump blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown. You got the federal workers, because of this government shutdown, not getting paid. They said something about they had military people in food lines because they didn't get their check. Remember, the militaries get paid. But since the government shut down, who knows what the fuck is going to happen. And they're saying that indefinitely the government shutdown. I believe, brother, we talked about yesterday that the government should be indefinitely shut down for the next 30 days. The next 30 days. That's a kingdom divided against itself. How shall it then stand? How's America, how's the EU, how's NATO, how's all this going to stand when all this in-house fighting? How is Esau's kingdom going to last when the Lord said that a kingdom divided against itself shall not stand? How then shall it stand? How are you going to be divided and you're part of the same flow? All right? So this is Matthew chapter 12, verse 26 in the NLT, and it says, and if Satan is casting out Satan, he is divided and fighting against himself. And that's what these devils are doing. They're fighting against themselves. They're all Edomites. And they're not all on the same page. Look, what's going on? It says he is divided and fighting against himself. His own kingdom will not survive. And that's the kingdom we're in right now that's not about to survive. Because America's going to be completely destroyed. Russia, EU countries, NATO countries, whatever, all over there in Europe, they're going to be taken out of power seat. We're going to take over all that land. Esau not going to have a pot to piss in once this shit really gets going and YAHAWASHI comes back. You're not going to have, ain't going to be no European Union. Ain't going to be no NATO. Ain't going to be no America. Ain't going to be with these other countries, China, Japan. You're going to get your biblical Hebrew titles back. Everything's about to get put back to where it's supposed to be. How the Lord set it out to be in the first place. You are the nations under YAHAWASHI and the Israelites. We were going to rule over the nations. The nations were given to YAHAWASHI and the Israelites for an inheritance from the Heavenly Father. As servants, handmaids. Bind your nobles, bind your kings. But before that, the Lord, Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, going to have you destroy each other. And have you fight amongst each other. And then destroy each other. All right? Let me go back to that article. Oops. So look, here we go. Look, it says a race against time. It says EU ban on Russian LNG, which is what all that shit they're doing, set for 2027, which is, well, 2026 is about to start, so it's going to be a year from now. It says set for 2027. It says, but billions flow to Moscow now. So right now, they're giving them billions of dollars. It said the European Commission has announced a phased EU-wide ban on Russian LNG by 2027, accelerated from 2028. But until the ban is enforced, payments to Moscow are expected to continue. And it says since 2022, the EU has spent over 167 billion euros on aid to Ukraine, including military and humanitarian support. In comparison, energy payments to Russia have totaled more than 213 billion euros. So you think about, you think about that. Just think about that piece of little info that they putting out there. And you're not gonna hear about this in American media. They make it seem like, everybody's on board and everybody want to attack Russia. But in the meantime, before 2027, they're sending billions of dollars to Russia already. And remember, they don't need to, they're not sending military aid, but just remember, they said that even these payments are a form of self-sabotage. So even though, you're not sending Russia military aid or whatever, you're sending them money or whatever. And what are they using their purchase, what you're purchasing from them to do? To wage war against Ukraine. That's why I said they're supplying both sides. 7 EU countries. 7. Hold on, how many countries are in the EU? Hold up. Now, how much they're going to say officially, I wonder. Countries are in the EU. See what Google says. I should have asked GPT. Okay, so here it says, on this, it says there are 27 countries in the EU, in the European Union. 27. So, hold up. So you have, I think they said what? Belgium was one that was sending money. Croatia was one. France, I think. Yeah, France was sending money. I think they said Hungary was sending money. So they have 27 members in the EU, and 7 of these members are sending, are giving, what does it say? What does it say they're doing? It says 7 EU countries are increased Russian energy imports while supporting Ukraine. So you have 7 countries out of 27 of the EU countries doing business with Russia to fund both sides of the war. And yet, you don't hear nobody talking about that. Like, how the fuck, how is that possible? That means that the EU has issues. And they saying that, the EU gonna put the ban in 2027, but it's about to start 2026. So how much could they could send a lot for the rest of this year, the last couple months of this year, 2025, and then into 2026, they could send mad shit. All right. Now let's go to Revelation 17. Revelation 17. So we're in the book of Revelation chapter 17. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, and then there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now that great whore is talking about America, because America is that whore. Everybody comes to, it's going to say, but everybody comes to America, and the symbolic form of having sex with the whore is what? Doing all the business with the whore, taking in all the influence. Everybody comes to America to get made rich. Remember, it talks about the merchants, that were the nations that lived deliciously with her. I believe in the next chapter, Revelation 18, it talks about that. Drunk with the wine of her wrath of her fornication. Taking in all the bullshit of trying to be like America, wearing a suit and ties. catering to the shit because they want to do business because they know that if you do business with America, you will be made rich. Okay. Verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Been made drunk, drinking it, all her influence. They got America has a world under the influence. By her wickedness, or what's the words I want to use? Her policies, their way of doing business, their dollar. You have these other nations. These other nations, they come over here and take on the American life, the American way, the American dream, in a sense, the American way of life. You got every nation is over in America just about right now, man. Every nation. Out of 17 families of the earth, damn near all of them is here in America. Over the Israelites. At that. All right? And it says, verse 3 says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And now we're getting into who are those 7 heads and who those 10 horns are. Because now that whore, that it goes into the chapter, but that whore sitting upon that red dragon, it represents this whole system we're in right now. All right? So it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And that's why these nations, they're all intrigued by, they're all in awe about America. Because metaphorically speaking, America looks like a beautiful woman, a beautiful whorish woman, but still a beautiful woman nonetheless. And they mesmerized by this bitch. So that's why they gotta come over. They gotta get a piece of that ass. But now this ass is getting rotten. This whore, and that's why. And even though in this chapter it talks about a beach out there whore, and now you have the beast going against the whore's wishes, because didn't Trump say that for countries to stop doing business or stop trading Russian oil or whatnot? But yet you have 7 EU countries, 7 EU, some NATO countries, giving Russia money, funding both sides of the war with Ukraine and Russia. Now, how that makes sense? All right. Now, I'm gonna get into it. So it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Oh, no. Verse 5, and it says, hold up. Okay, yeah, here we go. So those 7 horns, 7 heads, and 10 horns, and 10 horns are the EU. And if you go into Revelation, the 13th chapter, where it talks about the beast that came from the first beast, being a Roman Empire, the second beast. Now, with the 7 heads are what? I got it written down. The 7 heads are the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, Germania Minor, and the British. That's the 7 heads, and the 10 horns of the EU. Now the EU are those, it says 27 members, but those 10 heads, 10 horns represent the EU. Now you have different, they join these EU, NATO, they all intertwine with each other. All right. So yeah, it says verse 5, and it says, and upon her forehead was written the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. Now that's America, because America was spawned from the beast. All right, but it still all represents Esau's kingdom. We're in Esau's kingdom. So what happened in Genesis, when the time where, Isaac, granted Jacob the blessing, gave Esau his blessing. He got what? He got the fatness of the earth. But he didn't rule right then and there. Down the line, the earth was then given into the hand of the wicked, which is Esau. And it was this time we in right now. Because the Lord said what? For Esau, the end of the world, Jacob, the beginning of it that followeth. Esau's rule was at the end. He was the last last Gentile nation to rule over the Israelites until Jacob got his, because that's how the blessing went. First Esau gets his, then Jacob gets his. But Jacob's blessing, Jacob's kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Jacob's kingdom is going to be the one where they're immortals. See, Esau didn't get immortality. He didn't get an everlasting kingdom, but he got a long rule on the earth. And he had a long time to have the fatness of the earth. And look what he did to it. He almost destroyed the earth. Think about that. All this rule you had, you had the fatness of the earth, and then you destroyed it, almost destroyed it. And all the things that are in the earth. All right, but continuing on, verse 6, and it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHAWASHI. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So John is seeing this. He's seeing this, and he wondered with great admiration because he's seeing this whore, this captivating whore. All the nations are flocking to her. So, like, of course, like, when you see a beautiful woman, you be like intrigued. You like, yo, you want to see what's up with her. And the nation have seen what's up with this because she's a whore. She just happens to be an attractive woman. But anyway. Okay, here it gets good. So this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 7, and it reads, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And that's the beast. The Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, French, and France was mentioned. France was one of the countries giving Russia the imports shit. In that article I just read, France is mentioned. All right? And France is part of the 7 horns. So yeah, it says in verse 17 and verse 7, it says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. Verse 8, it said, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And it says, and here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads, this is verse 9. And it says, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now, mountain is synonymous with the word governments. So this whore, the whore being America, is sitting on this beast. Because remember, the whore came out of the beast. It says, verse 10 of Revelation chapter 17, it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Now, I believe it said 5 are fallen are the Greeks. Hold up. I don't want to butcher it because I write things down. The 5 that are fallen are the Greeks, Spanish, French, Germania Minor, and Germania Minor, right? So those are the 5 that are fallen. And it says, and continuing on verse 10, it says, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now, since John was in the Roman Empire, that's the one. It says, and the one is, there's the Roman Empire, and it says, yeah, the Roman Empire, and it says, and the other is not yet, which was the British. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. All right. And it says, and the beast that was not, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th and goes into perdition. Now that's talking about America, because America was spawned from the Brits. And the one that's not yet come is the British. And the one that, and it says the one that, and it says verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th and goes into perdition. Now that intertwines with the UK and then America. And then it says, in perdition, and it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Now that's the EU, because the EU are intertwined with America and the whore. And the EU is part of the 7, are intertwined with the 7 horns. That's all part of Esau's kingdom. But those 10 horns, the EU, they're basically like cold. They're like having a piece of the pie, so to speak, with the beast. I mean, with the whore. But the whore came out of the beast. But the whore became something great. But the beast It's still the Roman Empire that it was spawned from. So the UK, all these the Spanish, the UK, the America, they all spawned from the Roman Empire. Now, the beast that came from, the whore that came up was spawned from the beast, because America came from the UK, and the UK still kind of runs shit over America. So that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Verse 13, and it says, "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords." Now, how Esau, and what did it say? It said what? The war with the saints. Because why? These are Edomites. And who is Edomite? Who does Esau have a perpetual hatred towards? The Israelites. So their whole rule, where the hell was the Israelites at the bottom, being oppressed. And being oppressed the most where? In America, which is the whore. This whore, Babylon the Great, America, this whore is a place where we went through the worst hell from you Edomites, man. And you were spawned from what? The Brits, the UK. We were in slavery in Europe too. It was a whole transatlantic slave trade. When these devils came about, because think about it, the Columbus and them, they came from the Spanish. All through that time, the Borgias, Columbus, and all that, they were all contemporaries. They were all around the same time. That late 1400s. The whitewashing, the Renaissance, all that was spawned into what we're in now. This where all this came from. That's why they talk. That's why the dude said what? Our lineage goes back to the Romans and the Greeks. You've woken up a dragon. It's actually quite heavy how the scriptures really intertwine with history, and how the Lord gave John these visions, and now he gave the prophets of now these days to be able to break it down to equating it to like now it's all come to pass. Because when John was around, it didn't come to pass yet. It was still the base. It was still the first beast of the Roman Empire. Back then, the ancient, the pagan Roman Empire back then. After Yahawashi was put on the cross in the Roman Empire, and now we're still in the phases of that. The second beast that basically imitates the ways of the first beast. That's America. And now you got this EU to beat the EU, which other parts of the beast, the 7 heads and the 10 horns. They're all intertwined together. All this EU, NATO shit. It's all this what was written in Revelation that John saw. It says, "These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." Verse 14 of Revelation chapter 17 says, "These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful." And you think about it, when it talks about that now, we go to the Daniel, the 2nd chapter, that dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. I think it was the stone, the one that said what? It's going to take over. That's talking about Yahawashi's kingdom. And Yahawashi is going to come take who? He's going to take Esau out of power. The statue representing what? You have the Greeks, the Persians. Then the feet that came basically after the Romans was like what they call it? A lot of brothers say that the last leg of the Roman Empire, the next leg of the Roman Empire, because it was an extension of the Roman Empire. America is. And all this EU shit. Oh, here we go. Here it gets good. It says in Revelation chapter 17, verse 15, it says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." And at verse 16, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." The EU, NATO, they shall hate the whore. Because they're going what? They remember, they got issues with America. Remember what Trump said? Trump said the NATO, or yeah, I think he said NATO, the NATO countries, they're not paying their part. They're not doing their part. And I believe, and I want to say Trump said that he I don't know if he said it recently, but I know he did say at one point in time, he said that America might have to cut ties with NATO. And I want to say that's around when he first got inaugurated. But remember, so that's what I'm saying. So if these EU countries are giving money to Russia, and you're a part of the EU, and you got the Ukraine, they want to be part of NATO, but you have some of these NATO countries giving money to Russia to fight against the Ukraine, and giving money to the Ukraine to fight against Russia. How to make that make sense? Now, is America cool with that? Because I haven't heard America speak on this shit. Now, this article came out on Friday, so I don't know when this information was actually found out, and I don't know. I ain't hear America's take on it. Hey, maybe that's a video for another time. Now I didn't want to make it too long, so I'm at 41 minutes. So I want to bring out one more article, and it talks about basically the digital ID. And now you have a lot of countries with the shit they're pushing. There's a lot of countries down with it. All right, and they doing it real sneaky and conniving. Let me see that real quick. Oops. And so, actually continuing on in Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, it says, and the 10 horns which the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that means what? The EU, these other Edomites, which makes up what? Satan's house divided. It said they shall hate the whore. And that's coming to pass too. Because it's not all peachy between America, NATO, and the EU. It ain't peachy. And clearly this representative can't be peachy if you got the EU giving money to Russia, and Trump said that to stop buying oil and whatnot with Russia, stop doing business with Russia. So what's going to come of this? Oh, they put the ban by 2027, but it's about to be 2026. And they said they've already given them billions. So you have EU countries giving money to Russia to fight against Ukraine. Now, what's up with that? What's up with that, though? Okay, so get that. Bear with me, my tablet acting stupid. I left my tablet outside and it got caught in the rain ways back, so it's been acting a little fishy. So oh fuck, come on, man. Hold up. Design D. Okay, fast payments. Digital. Oh, data exchange. That should be good. Oh, yeah, here we go. Found it. Boom. So now this article came from October 6th, and it's from the Sociable. Now the Sociable, it's a credible source. The Sociable is it's a tech news blog, whatever platform in Ireland, and it said they cover basically technology news from the United States and over the world. Oh, come on, man. These fucking ads. Oh, my gosh, yo. What the? Okay, here we go. So, it says the UN snakes digital ID, you know, that Microsoft guy, digital ID, fast payments, data sharing, 50 and 5 campaign hits 30 countries. Now, this is from October 6th, all right? So it said digital economy ministers call for interoperable digital ID across the entire African continent. It said the 50 and 5 campaign to accelerate digital ID, fast payment systems. Now, fast payment system. Now, what is that? What is that leading to? Eventually, this is all leading to something that has to get implanted in your body. Because you did get a digital ID, but it's not going to stop there. It's not going to stop at just a digital ID. Remember, he said he's going to cause them all. So as time goes on, that cause is going to become greater. So it says, and data exchanges in 50 countries by 2028 reaches a 30-country milestone. So it says launched in November 2023, which is about to be 2 years ago. The 50 and 5 campaign is a joint effort of the United Nations, the Bill and Melinda Snakes Foundation, and their partners to roll out at least one component of digital public infrastructure, DPI, in 50 nations within 5 years. Now, 5 years from 2023 is 2028. So, since they launched this in 2023, almost 2 years ago, that's why now, and this, well, I guess you could say, it really a strong push start this year, but it could have started like a little bit of last year. But this digital ID has gotten a lot of traction within the last couple months. So like that's how you know that they're pushing it forward and they're doing it with a sense of urgency. All right. It said DPI is a civic technology stack consisting of 3 major components: digital ID, fast payment systems, and massive data sharing between public and private entities. This is the beast system we're in right now. This is Revelation, the 13th chapter. All leading up to that. He calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in their right hand on their forehead. You got, they said that the Neuralink shit, the Elon Musk, the Neuralink, they say like they had 10,000 applicants to now get brain seeps in their body. So you see the time that these devils really on with all this AI shit, all this digital shit, digital ID, this digital wallet, fast payments. And eventually a fast payment is going to be what? The scan of your hand or your forehead, whatever, in your body. It says 50 and 5 started with 11 first mover countries, and with the count now at 30, the participating countries include, now these are the countries. It says Bangladesh, Brazil, Cambodia, Dominican Republic, Estonia, which I believe that's a NATO country, Ethiopia, France, which is a NATO EU country, Guatemala, Jamaica, Kazakhstan, Lesotho, Malawi, Mexico, Moldova, Nigeria, Norway, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Sri Lanka, South Africa, South Sudan, Somalia, Togo, Trinidad and Tobago, Uganda, Ukraine, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, and Zambia. So you got a lot of African countries. You got a couple European countries, couple South Northern Tribe countries, DR, Mexico, Brazil, Ethiopia, 30 countries. And it said the 50 and 5 campaign celebrated its 30-country milestone during a sideline event at the UN General Assembly in New York on September 22nd, which was that's a couple weeks ago. And now all of a sudden you having all this push for a digital ID. So that goes to show that we're very close to this devil bringing in that MOTB, to where you have to get it implanted in your body to be able to survive and be able to buy and sell. But remember, that Microsoft guy, he said by 2028, if you don't have a digital ID, you'll be ousted out of society. And this was let off in this was started in November 2023, which is 2 years ago. A month after the whole thing started with the small hats and Gaza. Remember, it says what? All wars are bankers' wars. So they're using all this war shit to get their new system up and running. All wars are bankers' wars. Remember that. All wars are bankers' wars. And now look where we're at. And all of a sudden, now you got all the digital ID shit. All of this, that, and the third, digital wallet, fast payments, be able to data exchange between private and public entities. It says their government officials like Ukraine's deputy prime minister praised the work of 50 and 5, while the ministers of digital economy from Nigeria and Togo called for an interoperable digital identity system for the entire African continent. So now you what? The entire African continent will be down with the digital ID shit. And Africa being one of the biggest continents, but you also got what? You got these other countries. You got the UK that said that in order to work now, you're going to need a digital ID. They said in the whole continent, in the continent of Europe, if you come from America, you have to have a digital ID to enter into a European country. It says you have to have a digital ID. So what's going to be the have to have down the road? You're going to have an MOTB microchip in your body, RFID microchip in your body to travel, to buy and sell, to get access into buildings. Same thing they're testing the shit that people have now, making payments and getting access to buildings, your medical records. We're living in, this is a pilot program for the mark of the beast right here. And it's evidence, and that's why at the same time, the nations are what? They're preparing war. Because the judgment of getting the MOTB is going to be with these nukes. So that's why it's all intertwining with each other. It says Nigeria's Minister of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, said that each country could build their own digital identity scheme, but that they should all be interoperable with one another, demonstrating both the digital ID and data sharing as good potential use cases for DPI. So what? They all should be intertwined with the one system. They should all be intertwined. Which goes into what? He calls it, let me get that. Oops. Now, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. You know, since I was talking about it, I'm going to go to the point. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him." Now, what? That first beast is the Roman Empire. And now this devil, which is America, the EU, NATO, they're all a replication of the first beast. But America's the whore that was spawned from the beast as well, the first beast. And it says, he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused of the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now that was the Roman Empire. When he came about, that Renaissance, the whitewashing stage, America is a spawn of that. That's why they carry all the ancient customs like Rome and the Greeks. That's why that dude, what Stephen Miller said that, well, we go back to the 4th century Romans and Greeks, or some 4th century Romans, because this is basically another branch of the Roman Empire. His deadly wound was healed. And it says, verse 13, it says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." Hey, yo, hey, man, these rockets, these missiles, man. Yo, we brothers talking, I forget what, I don't know if it was Russia. I don't know if it was Russia, but it was some country that was raining down missiles, and it actually looked like fire coming down, raining from heaven. Like little fire rain balls. And it says, verse 14, it says, "And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live." See, that's part of that Roman Empire. And it says, "And he had powers to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." All right? And it says, and here where it gets good. Verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And that's that what? RFID mark, go see it. And that's what all this digital ID, all these great wonders, these miracles, the AI, the missiles, all this shit Esau got in his kingdom is the greatest wonders and you know, it's called miracle, greatest accomplishments as any empire, except for when the kingdom to come, obviously. But all the empires before it's done way more great things compared to any of the empires before it. And hence now, in order to buy and sell, you have to get something implanted in your skin to buy or sell, instead of using gold, instead of using silver, and now getting rid of his own cash. Not even be able to use coins. Now he got something electronical, something digital, and that's gonna be a digital currency. That's why he's all a cashless society, a digital economy. People are hardly using cash like that. It says, verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And he said, no man can buy or sell. What did the devil say? What did he say? What it said? Hold on. Oh, it says, yeah, digital economy. Hold up, no. Oh, yeah. Okay, it says, yeah, UN. It says, Snake's digital ID, that Microsoft got digital ID, fast payments, data sharing, 50 and 5 campaign hits 30 countries. And that's what the article is about, this 50 and 5, the whole, I guess, 30 countries. I guess they want 50 countries. They want this, and they want this to be done within the next 5 years. Well, it started in 2023, so this is part of the 5-year span. So they said, that's why he said, I guess that's why they're saying by 2028, everybody should have a digital ID. And if you don't have a digital ID, you're gonna have a hard time in this society. That's what that Microsoft guy said. The same guy, Microsoft guy that pushed the whole shit with the sticky stab. And now you got a bunch of things coming out about that. There's this one Elamite chick, this Indian chick. She was fully stabbed. She just died cardiac arrest. She was 42, excuse me. And it's coming out that mad people are being unalive that got that jump shot. And just like the bitch, remember the bitch said in that documentary called Die Suddenly. She said that within the next few years, and that documentary came out in like 2021, 2022. She said that within this few years span, 5-year span, she might have said, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to just die suddenly. And that's what you've been having. People just passing out, people just dropping dead. Cardiac arrest, this. So I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna read a little bit. Let's see. So it says, back at the 50 and 5 milestone event, Togo's Minister of Digital Economy and Transformation, Sina Lawson, called for a free cross-border interoperable digital ID powered by the modular open source identity platform, which is MOSIP. MOSIP is that Microsoft's guide funded platform that helps governments and other user organizations implement a digital foundational identity system. So that's also their ploy, an ID. Because why? Your ID now is what? A card, a little plastic thing. But they want to get rid of all of that. They want you to have a digital ID now. I don't know how they're going to how they're going to do it. But the fact, your money, remember, your ID and your money are the first things one of the most important things to you. You gotta go into make a purchase. You gotta go somewhere. You gotta show your ID. So that means that if you don't have a digital ID within 2028, that means that they're gonna have a whole system set up. They're setting up. They're setting up now to where that if you know these businesses and these establishments they're gonna have the capability and they're gonna have the tools, the material to be accepting digital ID more instead of the IDs in your wallet. You're gonna have a digital ID on your phone or whatever. And remember, your phone, you can make payments on your phone too. Scan your phone, palm payments. But eventually they're going what? They're gonna want you to get something implanted in your body, just like they did with the jump shot. You had to get that in your body in order to what? To maintain certain privileges. And that's what they're gonna do with this digital ID, and then ultimately that's what they're gonna do with the MOTB to retain certain privileges in society. You're gonna need these things that's gonna lead up to what? The MOTB. And they're starting with the digital ID shit. Digital wallet this, digital ID that. And it's all prophecy. The devil's supposed to, this is the Lord's will. Remember, we're at the end. So now it's time for him to bring these end time prophecies. We're in the last days. We're in the last days of Esau's kingdom. So in the last days of Esau's kingdom, it said that he was going to do these things. And he has to do it. But that's why you also have to remain faithful. That's why, the best thing, continue to prayer, fasting, for the strength and faith to stay strong in these times, in these tribulous times before us, man. Because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more trying. But if you have the strength, if you have the trust in Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, you're going to be good. And that goes for me too. It's gonna get dire for brothers, man. Maybe it's gonna be different. Every brother's not gonna have the same, you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be in the same realm. Uncomfortable. All right. Let's see. That's pretty much it on this article. They tell. Let me read this. So, hold up. So, it says, Lawson also spoke at the 50 and 5 launch event in November 2023, where she explained that Togo's DPI journey began with the arrival of the C-19. First, the government set up a digital payments system within 10 days. We deployed it, and we were able to pay out 25% of all Togolese adults, and we distributed $34 million that the most vulnerable Togolese received directly through their mobile phones. It says, then came jump shot passports. We created a digital CV certificate. All of a sudden, the fight against the emic became really about using digital tools to be more effective, she added at the time. So that goes to just show that they use that emic to bring this shit. I'm going to read that again. She says, we created a digital CV certificate. All of a sudden, the fight against the emic became really about using digital tools to be more effective, she added at the time. So they used the emic to usher in what? This digital system. Period. That, you see that? That's proof. That's not something I made up. That's in the article. This is something this is clear. This is evident. They didn't give a fuck about people's health. They used that to do this. It was all the preemptive. It was a pump fake. They had everybody locked down. They were just doing this shit. Getting the digital shit ready. That's what they was doing. And now they're about to bring it out. Now that's why they're saying that you need to have a digital ID to do this. You need a digital wallet. You got to do this. You got to have to do that. Because they set this up from that. So that emic was what? It was started 2020. So 2020, a couple years later, this shit. And the whole time, that Microsoft guy was fucking being a fucking little menace. And then that's also part of what? The population control. So having these people die off, so you have more people you can control and put your bullshit on them, man. But then they have to go get rid of the undesirables. They're going to get rid of the ones that are speaking out against it. And that's what Trump is doing. Talk about all this hate speech, DT groups. We got to put a stop all this ICE shit. Oh, yeah, that's what. Come on. The persecution is on the way. What did Yahawah say? They shall cast some of you into prison? That's all coming. It's all part of the same story. This is all part of the same show. This is all part of the same prophecy. From the same book, the scriptures. But think about it. On the bright side, it's this devil's end. So, like, he has to do this. All right? So he has to bring a digital ID. He has to bring out the MOT. He has to bring it out because that's when the hour of temptation comes. Jacob's trouble. All these things are to take place. They're all intertwined with each other. The prophecies all coexist with each other. But you got to just remain faithful and keep your trust in Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi. So, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Rakakadash. Double honor to the positive Israel, a.k.a. the positive great millstone. And peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.